All right, here we go again.
Yep.
Happy 4th of July weekend.
Post
That's cool.
weekend. It was good. It was good. So my father came with Kelly for a couple days and it was great. It was awesome to see them. The best part is, and I don't know if you feel this or whatever, but they're super chill. And I think it's nicer when you have visitors that are super chill without feeling like the expectation is so high.
Yeah, it was so fun. They made they always make the 4th of July parade
Yep.
like so cool.
Yeah.
It was a really good 4th of July parade, even though I kind of it, the the parade is fun, and the parade is fun because like North Sea, and if you don't, you obviously don't know what North Sea is, but if the North Sea Fire Department is like the best part of the entire parade,
Oh yeah.
and it's so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
They bring the energy, they bring the vibe. It's like if you were at their backyard barbecue,
yeah,
and seeing them, they do like the Burning Man.
yeah,
Um,
they're so fun.
they're throwing, water at each other. The music is loud. The back part of their float is pretty much on
On
fire,
fire, yeah.
and you just see all the smoke everywhere. It's so much fun.
What's up, Kenneth? Good to see you, bro.
Hey,
Um,
that was really fun.
the best part was the couple standing next to us, right?
Mhm.
So like they were the most fun.
Yeah.
Uh they there was a company walking with muskets, right? So they had the oh shoot, I can't remember the name. They It was just muskets from like the 1800s, and they were
Mhm.
firing the muskets off.
Mhm.
And so when they fired the muskets off, the couple next to me was like, "Oh my god, this isn't safe. They're firing rounds. They're firing whatever." And I was like, "It's not real rounds.
Mhm.
Like it's literally just gunpowder.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yep.
whatever." And they're like, "Oh, we're going to fire again." I was like, "They're not. They're presenting rounds."
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we were right there and we thought that they were. So you know, and we were talking about
or
this too.
presenting arms.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
we were talking about this too. It's very interesting because we've talked about before our son is very noise sensitive when it comes to hand dryers. Like he does not like going into the bathroom with hand dryers. But let me tell you something. That parade was loud. The sirens were loud. The music was loud. The guns were loud. The muskets were everything was loud and that boy did not flinch. He was so excited to be there.
He was just happy to be with his grandpa.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was cool. And there was a veteran, like a Normandy veteran.
Yeah, World War II.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's very cool. I haven't had a chance to put it on my Instagram yet, but I put it on my Facebook. So after the parade, we went and found one of the VFW Veteran Memorial hangouts and we went there and we were enjoying some lunch and it's the first time that my father has been there. I don't know if I've shared with you guys, but he is a Vietnam vet. He was a Marine. And we went in there, we're having lunch, and this guy is sitting, at the table next to us. And they presented him with this award and all this type of stuff. And before he started to play a saxophone that he has, this gentleman, a woman came up and kind of gave us a little insight to his life. And he's a World War II vet. He just celebrated his 103rd birthday. He just traveled over. I think that all of the Born Primitive stuff that we bought and the shoes, we were able to get the D-Day shoes,
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
supported, I don't remember how many people
It
went.
supported them going over. I think it
Yes.
was 80 veterans.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. So every shoe, if you got the special D-Day ones, with the box and all of the memorabilia that comes with it, there's sand, there's tokens, there's all these cool things. He was actually one of the ones that went over
Yeah.
and got to be there, and we were part of that. So it was very cool to be with him. And he also is the leader of a band and was playing music and played the Star Spangled Banner, and it was just very, very cool. And I don't know about for you, babe, but for me, with all of this, like getting out of tunnel vision and being able to see things differently and see things in my own light and be able to appreciate things differently, I was reminded, I was reminded about what the military actually does and what the sacrifices actually are. My father is a Vietnam vet, and he sacrificed himself to serve, and he's very proud of his service and came home, and I'm lucky that he came home.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that he met my mom, regardless of whatever that looked like. I'm lucky that he came home, and I'm lucky he made it safe home, because if not, I wouldn't be here. And it was very much a reminder of, because for a long time we weren't allowed to be proud. We weren't allowed to be supportive because it was anti us. It was anti our community, because it's a very much them versus us. At the same time too, if it's not for the men and women that serve, we don't have the freedoms that we have. So it was very much a reminder to me of, like, I grew up in this. I grew up obviously with my father in these VFWs and these American Legions, and seeing all of the men and women and families that either served, their parents served, their brothers served, their grandparents served, and just this pride of being an American and being here and having the freedoms that we have. At the end of the day, we have the freedom to be who we are. We have the freedom to love who we love. We have the freedom to do all of that. And it's because of these men and women that have made that choice.
It was really cool. It was really cool to see him. It was really cool to watch him come through the parade and,
Yeah.
know that, if you supported Born Primitive, then you supported, the heroes going overseas and
Mhm.
doing the anniversary for Normandy. So
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yep.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Um and as we get through 4th of July and as we get through you know the as we get through Pride Month, there's so many things that we have to recap, that we have to talk
Do
about.
do we have to, though?
I know. I know. I
What's up,
know.
Bruce Wayne? I see ya.
What's up, Bruce?
How are ya?
Um
All
yeah.
right, go ahead.
So we found out I struggled with this. I thought about talking about it. I thought about not talking about it, and then I thought the best thing would be to talk about it because people need to know about it. It was a fad that came through um that was nobody really worried about. And now, because it's close to me, I
Mhm.
think uh I don't know. I want to talk about it again.
Mhm.
So last week on Friday, uh, my nephew overdosed on lean. He's okay,
Mhm.
thank God.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a thing that kids do, and I don't know if anybody knows what lean is. I've asked a lot of people if they know what lean is, and I'm not even sure that people know what lean is. And lean is like kids. It's a less expensive way to make a high, right? So instead of going to buy marijuana, instead of going to buy whatever they're going to buy, they make a drink.
And mix a bunch of shit together.
And literally it's it's codeine, it's cold syrup.
Oh, you got it?
Um
Okay.
yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
It's cold syrup with codeine and it's supposed to be like you're supposed to throw candy into it and then like whatever kind of soft drink like
Yeah, isn't cough did you say cough syrup? Yeah,
yeah,
cough
cough
syrup
syrup,
is
but
in there.
also like a you know sun-kissed purple or
Mhm.
a sun-kissed orange or something
Mhm.
that tastes like a Jolly Rancher
Mhm.
basically is what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
But now kids are doing it
Drugs and alcohol.
with alcohol. So they're
Mhm.
throwing prescription medication into alcohol and like, you know,
Yeah, they're using the lean to chase, essentially, to chase the
And
prescription
it
drugs.
wasn't a Narcan thing either. It's not something that a Narcan, like he didn't get
He
Narcan.
didn't need it, yeah.
His friends found him, thankfully, and called the paramedics. And it was it was a thing. He was foaming at the mouth. There was whatever, but I think parents forget that this can happen. You know what I mean? And I've never personally known anyone that has OD'd in any way, shape, or form. OD'd and, like, survived, or OD'd and didn't survive.
Mhm.
But I've never known anyone that's done that. And so it was never personal to me, and I think that's a thing that's happening right now in this country, that if it's not personal to you, you don't understand it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, okay, fine. I'm a victim of that. I don't I If it wasn't personal to me, then I didn't understand it. So this is personal to me, and like, I could say, like, look out for, marijuana laced with something. I could look out for, if you wanted to do cocaine laced with, but it was going to be laced with something. So I could say that. I didn't even know what lean actually was
No, I had no idea. I've never heard of it.
until we looked it up. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't know what that was.
Mhm.
So,
It's also too, when you're in a different environment, when you're at a different point in your life, when I mean, there's so many things that we're focused on right now. So for stuff like that, that's kind of not what we're focusing on because we have a 7-year-old. Not s- and then
fair.
So when it gets to that time when he gets in his teens, obviously different kind of conversations are going to come up. We're going to have to pay more attention because times have changed even from when we were younger. So I don't think that it's a victim, and I don't think that we're necessarily naive to it. I just think that the point where we are in our lives, we have other things to focus on. We have other things to prioritize. We have other things to navigate and work through. And we hear stories like this and we are reminded that, oh, yeah, it's still a thing. And also, it's always changing. For a long time, people were saying that, how can marijuana be a gateway drug? There's no way that it could be a gateway drug. Maybe years ago, you could have argued that. You can't argue that anymore because 90% in certain cases, it's laced with something. So, yes, like people might think that they're just simply smoking marijuana and that's all they're looking for. But you get it from a person who gets it from a person that has a different priority. And obviously, dealers need something that's more addictive that you want to keep coming back to. So, getting high, 10, 15, 20 years ago is not the same now because things are getting laced with fentanyl. They're getting laced with cocaine. They're getting all of these other things. So, and when you know,
What zombie? It's 100% a gateway drug. I wouldn't have said that when, like, 4 years ago, when I was kinda trying to figure everything out. Now, yeah, I would say it. It's a way for you to numb yourself from having to deal with actual feelings,
mhm.
the same way everything else is. You know what I mean? There are so many things that just help you numb yourself from the feelings that you're actually trying to deal with. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, now that you say it like that, yeah, I can see that, especially when it's a within I mean,
And if marijuana doesn't give you the high that you're looking for and you're smoking it all the time, there's a paranoia that comes with that,
yeah,
um, that I think that people are not seeing.
or
Um,
acknowledging.
yeah,
Yeah, or acknowledging that there is. I mean, if you simply say that, you can't function without it, that's a pretty big statement.
yeah.
Like, if you need it to function.
to be able to be around people,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Like, I know that people have used it to help them sleep.
Yeah,
I get that.
for sure. I have.
Yeah, I get that. Like, okay, you wanna use it to, again, stay in the safety of your own home. It's
Yeah.
just you. You're literally just smoking a little bit so that you can pass out and fall asleep, whatever. But when it becomes this every day, all day, every day kind of thing. And I always joke, like, yeah, I smoked pot when I was younger, and I always say I'm a cheap high because I would smoke and I literally 5 seconds later would pass out. So if I'm somebody that's like that and I choose to smoke and then get in a car, or I smoke and then I choose to go outside, knowing that I'm like, it's gonna be a problem.
I I just the fact that it's lean and the fact that the drugs that they're using that they can get. It's kind of like when we were younger and people started being like, "Yo, kids can't get Sudafed." Like,
Yeah.
you can't go to the store and get Sudafed
Yeah.
because you can make meth out of Sudafed.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
They're locking up
for sure.
everything. If you go into grocery stores, if you go into any sort of pharmacy, CVS's, they are locking up everything.
Yeah.
You can say, like, yeah,
No, Bruce Wayne, you can say the same. Yeah, there's
yeah,
there's a million different ones that you can say, but these kids are gonna get their hands on it, and it's a thing. And I think for a second people forgot about lean. Like, lean was a thing.
when? A while ago?
Uh, yeah.
Oh, really? I've never heard of it. That's a new one for me.
I
I've never.
heard I heard of lean, I just didn't know what it was.
Oh,
I also thought it was like something you could go buy off the street, but it's something kids can make. Um, so, lean was like 2019, 2018, something like
oh,
that.
okay. No,
Uh,
I don't remember that one.
yeah. Um,
What's up, Jody?
what's up, Jody? So, like, yeah, I'm not look, I'm just saying that it's out there and there are things the way that we used to do it when, or not we, but like kids used to be able to do it in the early 2020s, in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anyone's fault. Addicts OD all the time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Even if addicts that want help, often with difficult time finding help or positive outlet or replace. Yeah. If you have an addictive behavior, you're gonna have an addictive behavior. I'm not saying that you're not, and I'm not saying that it's, you know, I'm saying that these kids out here don't have coping skills and no one's ever taught them coping skills. So for them, finding a way to numb themselves is the easiest way, as instead of dealing with the actual feelings that they have,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, addicts are going to be addicts. It's just the same way that, like, and I hate to say this, like whatever addictive personality, alcoholics, whatever, like you're gonna have the same thing. It's just gonna be try cigarettes. It's gonna be you're gonna have to figure it out if you want to stop. But for these kids, these young kids,
Mm-hmm.
and lean is like it's a thing that they can afford to make, and it's out there, and I think that we forgot about it. So,
Yeah, that I that is part of it. That's the part for me, is that now they're finding any household products that they can. I mean, we went through this whole Tide Pod thing too. We saw all these kids
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you know, using Tide Pods to get high. And you I think the bigger question is, why are they chasing highs so young? Like, what are like why is this a thing so young? Is it because our kids are not bored and broke? Is it because parents are not disciplining and bound and creating boundaries and holding up expectations? Is Is it the change in the narrative of being a quote unquote tough parent versus a gentle parent? Like,
No, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we're putting a lot of crap on kids.
mhm,
Like we literally are making kids try to understand things at a very early age that they shouldn't have to, like, okay, so when you were young and growing up and you wanted to wear like when I wanted to wear boys' clothes, Wild Zombie, could it be a dopamine hits from their phones? Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so.
No, social media and likes and clicks and whatever is absolutely a thing that they're probably chasing. And if they don't get enough likes and clicks, then they probably need some sort of, you know, dopamine hit or
Mhm,
just a way to cope with the fact that they feel like they're not liked because you didn't get enough likes today.
mhm,
Um, which is so freaking sad because like when I grew up, it me dressing like a boy didn't mean I was the phrase gender nonconforming, right? Like I it just meant I like to dress like a boy. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I was what they call now gender nonconforming, but these kids now have to think about the fact that they're dressing like a boy or gender nonconforming or whatever or blah blah blah. They have to do that. So they're going to do more things to cope with that. And they have no coping skills. They can't just be like, "Hey, this is who I am." Like, "Screw you if you don't like it.
mhm,
This is who I am."
mhm,
They have to defend them or not even defend them. Well, they defend themselves, but they have to, like, find a way to cope with it after the fact.
yeah,
And it sucks, dude. Like, you shouldn't have to do that at that age. You shouldn't have to do that at 13, 14, 15.
no,
You should just be able to just be.
mhm, yeah. Yeah, social media gives way too much access to way too many things. And it's cool to do these things. It's accepting to do these things. It's all good, if you want to be a part of something. So instead of unfortunately, I think instead of teaching our kids to be a part of a team, teaching our kids to um like I was saying, like work hard and I saw a reel and I don't remember if I sent it to you, but it was this guy that was talking about his father and one of his father's rules was no girlfriend. No girlfriend. You cannot have a girlfriend I think until he graduated high school. And so he followed his father, he respected his father, and then all of a sudden, I think when he was like 15 or 16 or whatever, he got a girlfriend and somehow of course because good parents find out what's going on. And so his father was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And he's like, at first he denied it, he lied, and he's like, then eventually admitted it. And his father did this experiment. And what he did is he got a bunch of pots and pans and he asked his kid to put his hands out, like just out by his side. And he would put responsibilities, expectations, rules that they have, like getting up on time, going to school. I think he played sports, working out, all of these things. And each time he did that, he put a pot in each hand. So obviously, it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. The last one that he put on top of it was the girlfriend. And then the minute that he put the girlfriend on top, what happened? Everything crumbled down.
Yeah.
So his point being, and I thought that this was so interesting because I never grew up loving myself. I never learned how to love myself. I didn't get any tools to love myself enough. I was the beginning part of social media and that validation from other
Yeah.
people. What he was saying is that if you are going to get to be the best person that you want to be, you have to focus on yourself. There has to be rules, there has to be boundaries. We talk about this. There has to be a good solid foundation before you can add anything else into the mix. And I think what it feels like is that instead of building the foundation of our kids, we're trying to throw all of this confusion and we're trying to throw all of this niceness in a way where simple manners, simple rules, simple expectations are now being categorized as bad parenting.
Yeah.
Like it's a bad parent. It's bad parenting to tell your kid no. It's bad parenting to tell your kid that's not appropriate. it's bad to tell your kid, no, like, you can't do that. We don't do that. And all of a sudden that's bad, you know? So instead of teaching our kids that kind of stuff, being nice, following the rules, basic manners, that's all being bad parents.
It feels like there used to be a time where you could go out as a kid and figure it out. It feels like you used to be able to go out, used to be able to, like I remember myself, like the first time I ever smoked weed, it was out of a Pepsi can.
Mhm.
Like it was a makeshift
Mhm.
Pepsi can, and I smoked weed out of that.
Mhm.
I thought I was a golden girl. I ran around, thought I was Dorothy
Mhm.
forever. It was like the easiest thing. I fell asleep, woke up, whatever, it was fine.
Mhm.
Um, Now, if you go try to do that, you could be taking, your life in your hands. Like you have to have, like, now it's almost like, okay, now I don't, I don't know. It's not the same. It's not the same as it was anymore. And
Mhm.
they have these things now, like, so like weed isn't the problem. It's almost the people that you like are buying it from in the hood.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know what's gonna be in it.
Mhm.
Like, I have, uh, 2 nephews, pretty much. One on lean, one that got spiked weed from some random friend, right? And they're both never gonna be the same again,
Nope.
like, ever.
Nope.
So, it's definitely not the same as when we were doing it when we were little,
Mm-mm.
like, or when we were, 17, 18, trying to figure it out. It's not the same.
Mhm.
You have to have guidelines, and you have to have, you know, people there to tell you stories, but the problem is nobody wants to listen to the stories anymore. No one wants to, the same way that I always try to say that pride isn't the same.
Mhm.
Pride isn't the same anymore. It's not what it was. When pride when I was growing up with pride, pride was for something, like, it was actually for pride. It was actually for, hey, we want to be able to get married. Hey, we want to be able to, you know, just
Be
file tax.
left alone.
Yeah, file taxes together. Just it. I don't even care if anybody else likes it or not, or likes us or not, or supports us or not. I don't care. I just want to be able to do it. And then when we were able to do it, it's like they changed it and they made it seem like it was something else, and that pride was something other than that,
Mhm.
than just wanting to be safe.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, we pride is now like, oh, we want to be in control.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's not the same thing that it was anymore. And it sucks.
Yeah, it does. It really, really does. And I think when it comes to, the drugs and the guns and all these things.
Jonathan Ortega can't be smoking out of a can. They may lace it with fun. Yeah, you can't.
Mm-mm.
Oh shit. When I tried it, it was like the mid '90s. And it was out of a Pepsi can, literally.
Mhm.
And it was like, it was chill. Like, the first time I did it, it was chill. I was just, like walking or you know what I mean? Walking
Mhm. Mhm.
around thinking I was a golden girl, and then took a nap, and then I woke up, I was hungry, I was fine.
Yeah,
Sleepy.
me too.
What is it? Sleepy, happy, hungry?
Yeah,
Like, that's what I was.
yeah.
Sleepy, happy, hungry.
That's what it's supposed to
There
be.
was no chance that you could, you know, die. It was just like, "Oh, you wanna smoke a little bit and then laugh at a comedy special? Like, let's go."
Mhm.
That's what my experience was anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Mine too. Mine
and
too. I would smoke a little bit and then I would pass out, get up, eat a lot of food and go on with the rest of my day, And I never got to that point where I needed it all the time. I would hang out with a group of friends that literally they had it all the time. They would offer it to me and I'm like, "For what? I'm wasting your weed." Like it doesn't do anything for me. It's not this need. I don't need it. And so, I mean, and it was the same thing with, cocaine was around too. And I could have tried that if I wanted to, but I never did because I was scared that I was going to be that one statistic that takes a hit of it once and my heart would stop, you
Yeah.
know? And I think what I was going to say before was I think when it comes to drugs and I think when it comes to guns is that the, so much of this generation just feels like they're invincible, that they can restart. I was terrified of dying. That's why I never tried anything more than just weed because I was actually terrified of dying. And
Yeah,
I
because at the time, weed you knew was safe.
yeah, yeah,
Like, that was the thing that you were like, "Okay."
yeah. And I think that these kids are not being taught that like life's not a game. You
Yeah.
get one time. You get one time to do this. Once it's done, it's done. So I think that that's part of it. And I also think too is that there's this lack of presence. And what I mean by that, and we're all guilty of it, we're always so worried about what's going on online. Like, what is everybody doing that doesn't live around us? Who's doing what? Who's posting what on our phones? Like, we're so worried about what other people are doing that we're unable to be present in exactly what we're doing. And so I think that that's why relationships don't last very long. Whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, I think that that's why it's very difficult for parents and kids to have that type of relationship of a parent to kid relationship because we hear the stories about parents that don't want to parent. They're more concerned about social media, doing all this. The perfect case is that one case we talked about it or whatever, where the, mother was doing a YouTube thing and then got carried away with YouTube and then got her kids taken away. Like, she was more worried about YouTube than she was about actually caring for her kids, So, when you mix those together, I think that is why we are where we are, where these kids are just wanting to do things because it's cool to do it, and they think that they can start over and do it again.
I think and I shared the clip, and I think Sevon talks about it all the time, and I love this, like, this section that he talks about all the time is give your kids boundaries, like, and even Pedro talked about it the other day, like,
Mhm.
give them hard boundaries.
Yeah.
They might not like it in general, but afterwards, like, they can be safe inside those boundaries and know that they can do whatever they want in those boundaries, and I think that's fair. And that's kind of an answer to Wad Zombie. What made you terrified? Was it the DARE program?
Like, me personally?
Yeah.
Like, is he asking?
Yeah, because you were talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the DARE program is a really good program for kids to have, to learn about it and to try to get information about it, but for me, honestly, I was just scared to die. I went to a funeral for the first time when I think my grandfather passed away when I was 15 or 16, and I think that's the first time that I saw a real life death. I mean, you see it on TV, it's TV, that kind of stuff, but for me, if I can remember that far back, um, seeing that my grandfather was gone and that there was no life after that, like, it was over. I was always scared that I was gonna die, and I also come from a family that has a lot of drug use, and so I never also wanted to follow that suit of, following what they did, and I would see yeah, and also too, like, I would see my friends do it, I would see my surroundings and people do it, whereas, like, I didn't wanna do that, For a very long time, I was focused on being a competitive dancer, like, so that's where my focus was. I didn't
Wad
have
Zombie, for me, it was seeing how stupid and useless my friends were when they did drugs.
Agree, yeah, and so, also, that was a part of it too, but I was focused on competitively dancing. So my focus was somewhere else, and I knew that I had to take care of myself if I wanted to do that. So I had that focus when I was younger. But I come from a very addictive family, addictive personality family, so I saw that and also didn't wanna join that, I guess.
I think there's a point in time, I think, for all of us. I mean, everybody probably in this chat and whatever, but there was a point in time where you uh figured out your mortality, right? Where you no longer felt invincible. Like you knew that, like, once this life was over, it's over.
Mhm.
And for me, it feels like these kids don't understand that once you make these mistakes and it's over, it's over. Like, that's it.
Mhm.
And so, and also hey, look, I know what you're doing. I've done it before. I've seen it before. Let me tell you what not to do. Let me tell you that going out past midnight isn't a thing. Let me tell you that going and trying to, save money, invest your money, like do all this thing is a thing that you should do. And then they don't do it and they do something ridiculous. As an adult, it's so frustrating. It's like, please take what I know already.
Yeah, but it's also hard too because the narrative around that of trying as
Oh, has chick, you
yeah,
you figured it out when you got pregnant. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
uh,
sure.
um, that's that whole thing. The narrative in this world is changing because if you said something like that of my goal as a mother is to share with my kid the experiences that I have been through and the bad choices that I had made to try to give him some insight and give him almost like a warning. Like, just
Yep.
so you know, this could happen because mommy made really shitty decisions in this, and this that led me to this. All I'm saying is, I want you to know. But the narrative around that now is that you're being a helicopter parent. You know, you shouldn't want to like swing the other way from your parents. You can't say anymore that I wish I could have gotten a little bits of that from my parents, from your parents, speaking to anybody of generations before, just so I had a little bit of knowledge. I'm not saying my choices would have changed. I made the choices that I made, and I'm grateful for the choices that I made because if I didn't make the choices exactly the way that I did, I wouldn't be here exactly where I am right now.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of healing, and that's a
Not
whole
saying
nother.
you're not gonna make mistakes.
Right.
You're
Right.
gonna make mistakes.
Mistakes are
There's no way
inevitable.
for you to not make mistakes. You're gonna do it.
Right, right. But as parents, I don't know why that's bad to say anymore like you're saying. I'm just trying to give you it's like a warning sign. You know, when you're driving and they give you the warning that there's going to be road work, like why is ahead? Like there's road work ahead, so you have to
Slow down.
slow down.
Slow down.
Right.
That goes with everything. That goes with everything we're trying to say about trans.
So
That goes with
yeah,
everything we're trying to say about, like, just slow down.
all I'm saying is I want to be able to throw up those orange signs that say it's coming. And then if you still make the choice to speed and go there and then something happens, at least I know that as a parent, I did my very best to put all those flags up. But you can't say that anymore because it's looked at as helicopter parenting. It's a bad thing.
I don't care what other people think about it. My question is, I guess, to, the chat and you, what do you do? Like, my mind, like, thinking about my nephew, thinking about what happened, like, what do you do when they speed towards it? Like, what do you do when you put up all of the orange cones and you wave the orange flags and you do the airport shit signaling and detour roads and
They
they
still
still speed? Like, as parents, are we just allowed to be like shit?
of course. Of
You
course.
know?
And all we can do is just be there. Just be there.
Like, I think about my nephew and and please, he was with us for a very long time. He, my sister, like,
Mhm.
they were with us for a very long time, and and it kills me that he has to experience this to learn, and hopefully he will learn from what just happened. Crowbar Jones, some people only learn the hard way, and that's what I'm saying, like,
And it sucks.
it's
It sucks.
as the adult, it sucks. It really, really, really sucks,
Yeah.
and you wanna just
Do you think that it's because of social media that there is a lack of trust between kids and parents?
I think so. I think social media gives kids an outlet to not have to have difficult conversations with their parents and get the validation that they want.
Mhm.
I would say that. I think that.
Yeah, because now that we're talking about it, I feel like social media convinces kids that they can't trust their parents
Some of it, or yeah. Yeah, a lot of it, sure.
because parents tell you no. Parents put boundaries,
And the internet won't tell
and
you
the
no.
internet won't tell you no,
Yeah.
and the internet won't give you boundaries. If nothing else, the internet feeds on it. You see one post, we talk about it all the time. I saw one funny cat post. That's all I see. When I saw one political post, now that's all I see. I mentioned something. I mentioned to you that I saw a vacuum cleaner that I like. It's all in my algorithm. It's all I see. So the internet just feeds these narratives. And I mean, I'm not even on TikTok. And I know how bad TikTok is. And I refuse to go on
Me
TikTok.
too. Yeah.
There's nothing about it that's enough for me to be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm missing out on what's going on TikTok. Another reason why we are, this boy
It's
is
another
not getting
reason
a phone.
it's another reason why I say that, like, us fighting against the alphabet mafia and being like, "Hey, you can't make decisions for my kid." But then you realize that, like, the internet is making decisions for your kid.
Mhm. That's why it's very telling that the very people that create these apps have said publicly and openly that they will not allow their own children onto these apps. If that's not telling us something, if that's not that orange flag, hello, pay attention. They've all said it. If that's not the multiple flags that you need to see to do your best to, and like you said, some kids are going to have access to it. So our son in certain situations are is going to be exposed to certain things. But what we can do the best that we can is we can put him in environments with the least chance that that could be possible. So what do I mean by that? Sporting. Go join a sports team. There's no, if you're on the field playing soccer, if you're on the court playing basketball, there's no reason that you have your phone in your hand. You know
It
what I mean? Like
it's
different things
still
like
it's
that.
still what my grandmother said, busy and broke. Keep your kids busy and broke.
Yep.
If they're busy and they don't have money to go spend in, like, during their off time,
Yeah.
then that's the best case scenario.
Yep.
Has chick, my 20-year-old is a pot smoking fiend. I can nudge, educate, sympathize. I've helped him with vitamins, minerals, diet, slow progress. Uh,
It's tough. It's tough. Not saying that parenthood is not tough. It's tough, and we do the very best that we can, and
there's no book. Every
no,
kid is different. Like,
no, and also too, like, when we talk about this and we speak on it, there's no judgment on the way that another parent parents, because at the end of the day, we're doing the best that we can and doing what we feel like is the best for our kids. And so I'm not gonna judge the way that somebody else does, chooses to parent. What I'm saying is that as as our son's mom, we are making the choices to do things that we feel like are best for him.
yeah,
So we're all doing the very best that we can.
that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And again, there's
Head
no
head shake. That's great though. Doing your best to try to help him stay busy and
and yeah, and that's all you can do.
Yep.
I'm never going to tell my sister she did a bad job.
Right.
What I will say is like, dude, maybe don't like me or I'm not gonna say anything. I really am not. It was an unfortunate situation for everybody that was involved and yeah, it just sucks. As a parent, as an adult, as someone that was around him, as someone that cared about him, like it just sucks and you sit with it and you wonder like what, you know, what you could have done, what you could have said, how you could have been more helpful and it just this world is crazy and
Listen, this world can eat you up and spit you
as
out.
parents and adults, like we just have to talk about it. Like it's and that's the other thing that sucks. It's like it's we're afraid to talk about it. We'd rather hide it and pretend like everything's fine than say like, "Hey, can I get some help? Hey, what was your experience? Hey, how did you handle this? Hey, like I don't know the answer. I know how I feel having gone through this the last weekend and how I'll feel going through it the next however we handle it in the next
Mhm.
like month,
Mhm.
year, whatever. Don't
Yep.
know how he's gonna do. Don't even know if it's addictive. I don't know if he even leans I don't know what that is. Like I've never even heard of it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I put in the description pink cocaine. That's a new cocaine that's out. Don't know anything about that. Just learning what it is now, trying to, decode it. Apparently it's cheaper than what cocaine was when the 90s and 2000s happened, but apparently it's something kids are doing now that I don't know, it's a ditty drug.
Mhm.
So it's just I don't know. It's crazy and it's a real world now.
It's a reminder, and God, does this world remind us about a lot of things and put that mirror up for us a lot of times. It's a reminder at the end of the day that we are responsible for the choices that we make. It doesn't matter if you had tools growing up, it doesn't matter if you did or did not. It doesn't matter if you were given everything or had nothing. At the end of the day, we are responsible for ourselves. And there are some of us that choose to break certain cycles. There are also some of us that choose to stay on the same cycle. There are also some of us that choose to go kind of 50-50, where you kind of change some things, but you kind of stay the same course on some things. And I think at the end of the day, it all goes back to, what we talked about with Sousa is that accountability,
Yeah.
personal accountability of if you want something to be a certain way, if I want something to be a certain way, I have to make the choices and the action steps in that direction. Doesn't matter how many hurdles, doesn't matter how many turns, uh, doesn't matter. I have to make those choices and I have to make those action steps to get there. And so whatever is the result of that, it's still my choices and steps that have gotten me to where I've gotten and choose to go.
I just Yeah, sure. Right? Like I'll take accountability for my actions. I've been wrong. I've
Mhm.
said wrong things, I've done wrong things, I've had wrong opinions. I corrected them. I will correct them and will be like, "Yo, I was wrong. My
Mhm.
bad. I was
Mhm.
wrong."
Mhm.
Are we teaching that to this generation? Cuz I don't feel like we are.
No, not at all.
Like
No, not at all.
and again I say coping skills. Like the majority of them would just rather yell at us and tell us how we're wrong. But when we talk to them calmly with facts, they just want to yell at us again.
Mhm.
And if they feel like they were wrong or they feel like they're bad, then this is what they do. They're going to go cope with it and self medicate because
Yep.
they don't know anything else. They don't know how to say, yo, yo, I fucked up.
Mhm.
Like,
Or this feeling really sucks.
sucks, and it's okay that it sucks, but it'll pass, and I can do things to help it pass.
Mhm,
But immediate it's like, let me go to self-medication.
mhm.
You know what I mean? It's not.
It's because it's easier to grab the thing that is going to erase for that moment, would you say? Like, it's gonna erase what the feelings are?
Yeah, you'll forget it for a day, but then you have to go ahead and do it the next day too.
Mhm, mhm.
Like, it's just a never-ending cycle.
Yeah. And, you know, people are saying too, I've seen different opinions on this too. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, babe, but do you actually feel like, so say you're healing from some sort of trauma, whatever. Do you feel like it's better to talk about it a lot to get through it? Or do you feel like it gets to a point where you got to stop talking about it because you sit in that place? It's like you're back in that victim mentality.
I would say for me, it's probably better. I don't like. I'm literally talking from a do as I say, not as I do, which is also a horrible like place to talk about it from. But I'm probably more likely to process it by myself than I am to talk about it.
Mhm,
I talk about it after I process, um, and then that seems to work for me. So I won't say that for everybody, like, but in my head, I would say it's probably better to talk about it like immediately as much as you can for as long as you can until it just kind of, even with my mother passing,
mhm,
with my mother passing last year, it's still been very hard for me. I I still think about it all the time. Like, there's a lot of regrets there that I wish I had I thought that I was strong in and now realize I wasn't strong in that belief.
mhm,
I wish I would have talked about it more and dealt with it more at the time.
mhm.
But this one with my nephew, for me, I don't want to let that go and I don't want to stall it and I don't want to I w- I thought about talking about it or not talking about it and then I was like, no, you got to talk about it because it's something that some other parents might be going through, some other kids might be going through. It's it's addiction isn't a little thing
Mhm.
at all.
Yep.
And so to not talk about it is way more detrimental than talking about it.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
um, I was gonna go into some of the pride, but I mean, I think we've gotten into a lot right now. I just, I just want, if there's parents out there that hear this, that see this, addiction is a thing. There's like as adults, like children are children. Again, I've talked about this a million times. Children are children. You can't just let children go run around and do whatever they want and try to figure it out on their own and just affirm everything that kids want. It's just going to hurt them. They're not going to know how to handle it. They're not going to know how to cope with it and it's going to be sad
Mhm,
at the end.
mhm.
So, as adults, you know, we when you're an adult, fine. You have the coping skills, hopefully. You know what I mean? And if you don't, I don't know. But I just as a kid, hold your kids. Get your kids. There's a lot of stuff out there right now that's happening that I didn't even know about that now I'm starting to know about. So uh
Yeah. Yep.
it's
It's just a It's a reminder. It's a reminder that this world continues to move. Time goes really fast, and just be present.
There's a lot of things out there for them to get a hold of and to see that, I joke about it sometimes. It's like, hey, like, find out about it from your friends, or yeah, I probably rather my kid find out about things from his own peers
Mhm.
instead of adults, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't find out about it from an adult. You shouldn't. You're a kid. You're not supposed to find out about that shit from adults.
Mhm.
Also, I just want him to stay as kid as he can. Like,
Mhm.
he's 7.
Yeah. And he's a young 7.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a young 7, and we we find that fine line of how we can watch him grow and explore and be curious, but also at the same time show him and talk to him about what the world's like in our way. And I think that each parent has a right to that too. I'm not saying that we're not going to teach him about the world. He needs to know about the world.
Yeah,
He needs to.
absolutely.
He needs to know that assholes are assholes.
What
He
do
needs to know that some people are not safe. He needs to know that some people are really cool. He needs to learn how to manage his emotions. He also needs to learn the simple phrase no means no. And you don't always need an explanation. I don't need to explain every single thing to my kid. No means no. That is the most prominent statement that we can teach him as parents.
do you think that sometimes we put our fear too much on our kids?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We do.
I
We
try to
do.
find that balance of that
But
where
I was gonna ask you, do you feel like that's a bad thing?
no,
In an entirety, do you feel like that's a bad thing?
no, but I do try to find that balance where I don't put some of the fears that I already have being, my mortality bubble's broken. So I definitely try not to put any of that on him, or any of, like, I remember being that age and just wanting to jump off of everything, jump onto everything, ask 85 million questions, open 85 million cabinets, figure out what, like, he's curious.
That's what he does.
He's curious, he's gonna do it.
That's exactly what he does, and
Yeah, I try very much not to put my fears or my insecurities onto him.
but I think it goes back to the statement that you made before, and I use the analogy of the road work or whatever, about, like, it not being a bad thing to just say, "Hey, I've made these choices and this is the bad outcome that I've experienced. Just letting you know it's there if you need it. Hey, oh, by the way, this situation, I'd made this choice. This was a bad choice, but then this was a good choice. Just want to give you that information." It's almost like just putting up the signs, and if he's gonna read the signs along the way and pay attention to them, great. And so I think that I think you're right. I think that there's a balance between not throwing all of them on him, but also putting up those flags just as a precaution to be to give him the warning, to give him the heads up. And then what he does with them, I think is also something that we will eventually be able to release that control on, because he is growing up and he will eventually be a teenager and he will eventually be an adult making decisions on his own the best that he can.
Yep.
And so we are going to do our best to put as many of those signs up as we can, and he can do with them.
But just to know that, like, I mean, it is a thing. You can't protect him from everything.
No, I tried. I've
It's not a thing.
tried. I've tried really, really hard to do that, and it didn't work. We butt heads a lot, that boy and I, but
Oh, it's so funny because I think about how stupid that we were. Well, at least, like, kids that that were born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and kind of were dumb in the early 2000s, early 90s, or late 90s. And we were so dumb and
Oh, we're
so
so
lucky to survive.
Yep.
And now it's like I watch all of the memes and whatever from the Gen Xers, like the real Gen Xers that were born in like the late 70s
Yeah.
and or mid 70s. And I'm just like, God, you guys were feral. Like I was feral, but like you fuckers were really feral. You
Mhm.
really didn't like nobody was home when you got home. You
Nope.
really drank just out of a hose just
Oh,
because you
yeah.
wanted water. Like
Fuck yeah.
you really did all that shit and you really don't give a fuck. Like what anybody thinks about you, you don't give a shit. And that's fucking amazing. Like
I that is yeah, that's the cool part.
I don't know, and I wanna raise my kid that way, like, I really, really want him to just be like, "Hey, if I'm thirsty, there's a fucking hose outside." If like, you know what I mean? Like, if I need to get something, I need to work
Mhm.
hard for it. If someone calls me some shit like, "Hey, sticks and stones, bitch," like, I don't give a
Like, it's
fuck.
cool. Like, you're
It's
like, why are you mad?
you know what I
Why are you
mean?
mad?
Like, I really wanna raise him that way because I was raised half that way. Like, I was
Yeah.
raised boomers and my aunts and uncles were Gen X. So, like,
Mhm.
I I really hope that but I have a little millennial in me, which makes me sad, but, but also, I don't know, I hope it's a good part of me, but also, I I don't have that skin the way that those Gen Xers do, boy. Like,
Oh, I did not.
I hope I can, like
I didn't for a very, very long time.
Jody Lynn's so lucky I did some dumb shit. Yeah, and it's
Girl,
not on
yep.
fucking
The
YouTube
internet.
somewhere.
Yep.
Has chick. I'm 57 and was feral as fuck. The 80s were amazing. Lucky to be. I'm sure you if you
If you were living up in the 80s,
if you
yeah.
if you were in your teens, did you have the big hair though? Like, did you have
Yeah,
my
the
mom had
big hair on
the
the
big
top, yeah.
like I respect all of y'all. And I literally
I think for me, because I was the beginning of social media, I was the beginning of the internet, like, I once I found it, it completely changed who I was.
I don't want I can you imagine like I would never want Gen X to be able to roast. Like if there was a roast anywhere ever for
They
anybody,
can't.
I would never want Gen X to be able to roast. We would cry.
They
We would
can't.
not survive it. It just
No,
there's no
everybody is
way.
so sensitive.
Yeah. It just there would be no way.
Everybody is so sensitive. Nobody
Hey, do you think that's why most people can't handle Sevon's chat? Hey, anybody in the chat, if you want to get more people in the chat, like ask or like next time we come on, like tell us, is that why Sevon's chat is so potent? Is because they're fucking Gen X and
and they
nobody
don't give a fuck.
yeah, and nobody fucking else can handle
No,
Gen X.
they don't give a fuck.
I
They say
feel like
whatever they
that's what
want.
oh
'Cause they don't
that
give a
has to
fuck.
be it. Like if you think about it, think about their chat.
Oh, woo.
Like the original chat, like, it's like, there's no way. Like, Vindicate, fucking Wad Zombie, like, they're
They don't give a fuck.
yeah, it's Gen X. Like, I feel like Sevon is the Gen X whisperer, and he brings them all, and they're just
They just flock.
they're here to tell you that we don't give a fuck, and you
Yep.
could say whatever you want.
Yep.
And now he's kind of like, is he filtering into the millennial a little bit and letting them know
He's like roping us in,
yeah,
like
they
one at a
don't we
time,
don't
just
have to give a fuck
throwing
either.
out.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Hashtag nothing in Sevon's show offends me. Yeah, right? Like, it did. His show used
Oh,
to
it used to piss us off so much.
oh my god, and now I don't give a crap. I'll listen to
That
15
chick, I used to have to tell her that one night a week she could not listen to Savon because I didn't want to hear how pissed off she was.
I couldn't get my hair to do things. I did rock heavy metal perm after.
Nice.
Oh, fire!
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
for real.
That's awesome.
That's fire.
No, I for a long time could not listen to Sevon. I'm like, I cannot do this.
Oh my god, I am gonna have to bring that point. I'm gonna have to talk about that. Who do I talk about with that, guys? Do I talk about that? Who do I can't bring up
Why
his
Vindicate? Why not?
Vindicate. Oh yeah.
Vindicate's
Right.
coming on.
Vindicate's coming out on Tuesday. I can talk
Yeah.
about that with him.
You should.
That's amazing. I
Mhm.
think that's what's happening with his chat is that they're just like they're getting everybody used to being.
But wait, then I have to ask you this. I don't know if I should say it this way. Should I just say it this way?
Just say it that way.
Is
It's fine.
Sevon getting a little soft?
I mean, he would say no. He would say no. He would say he's hard as fuck. But like
I don't know. He gets a little spicy with chat sometimes with certain people.
no. No, he's still he just actually like kind of said that Dave's getting soft
Oh.
and coming into his feels. I don't know if Sevon is.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe because of his love for Dave, but
their bromance. How long has their bromance been? Long time.
it's like 20 years. Like, yeah.
Ooh, that's a long time. Yeah.
So no, that's interesting. The next chat appreciation, I'm gonna ask that.
Yeah.
Like if that's the thing, if it's the just Gen X that just they're like that's what drives his chat because that's fire because they really don't. They don't give a fuck.
Not care. They
So
do not care at all.
All right, guys. Thank you for helping us through our feelings tonight and helping us realize we don't have to give a fuck and we can teach our kids to do that too.
Yeah.
So that they can drink out of hoses. And
did you ever drink out of a hose?
I did.
I did too.
I did.
High five.
Bam.
Wherever you are.
I did.
Yeah.
I drank out of a hose, and my grandmother used to just give me vegetables and be like, "Go outside until the street light comes on, and then it's dinner time."
Yep.
So
yeah, I was pissing our kid off today because I'm like, "Go play in your room with your toys." He comes out, he's like, "I'm bored." I'm like, "You got
better figure it out.
Full of toys, kid. Got a room full of toys." But
go
mommy,
figure it out.
He started to kind of say, "Mommy, there's nothing." I was like, "Don't even start. You've got a full room of toys. Go find something to do."
Yeah. Jenny Vaccaro. Hey, good to see you. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
And let us know if there's anything that you guys have seen and you want us to like talk about a certain topic or whatever.
Hey, did you see Beaver Caleb on freaking Pedro's show this week? I just saw it. Sorry, I'm so late.
Didn't he lose?
It was fire.
Did he lose or did he win?
I think he won.
What?
Or he got we got the same score. He got like 5.5 and I got 5.5 when I went on.
Okay.
But he did a southern voice.
Shut up.
And it was fucking amazing.
I haven't seen
and
it
I
yet.
cannot wait to ask him how
he came up with that.
Yeah, how he trained for that. I feel like you have to train to have a southern dialect if you don't already have one.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
I
haven't seen it yet. Usually I see them before
that episode was amazing. And I'm sorry that I didn't see it before Pedro came on Thursday, but like,
yeah,
it was so good. I cannot wait to ask him about it. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm excited to talk to the Mr. Beaver.
And then just because his last name's Beaver. That's why I'm excited to talk about it.
And I'm pretty proud of that thumbnail that I made.
Yeah, you are.
Not gonna lie. Him in the wild.
And then Travis Vindicate is on Tuesday, and can't thank him enough for everything he's done.
Let me see if anybody's answered me.
HGR CBD, thank you very much for everything that you've done.
Oh, and just so you know,
we do have a commercial, but what?
Oh, okay.
What's happening?
So I have a maybe in my DMs, and I have a definitely.
Oh. Fire.
So we'll talk about that later.
Okay, cool.
All right.
But otherwise, yeah, Travis on Tuesday, Caleb next Saturday. That's going to be fucking fun because homie can talk. You just
wait, sorry, who? Which one?
Caleb.
Yeah, but
I mean, Travis is gonna be fire
isn't he
too.
like the
I mean, Travis
isn't
is gonna be fire
isn't he
too.
like the one-liners though? Isn't that the new thing that you have to just
I
lean
don't
in and
know.
listen with the
Go
one-liners?
if you go
Because
watch him on Pedro's Around the Whiteboard, he's got more than one
oh, he's
liners.
got some things to
My
say.
man's got some tricks in his bag.
Well, wasn't it on Kill Taylor that like he was somewhere and he kept popping in and out and saying
Yeah.
something?
My man is elusive. He's like the Dos Equis dude. Like
Mm.
he's whatever. So I'm ready for that shit.
He doesn't play around.
It'll be
He
a good
doesn't.
time. I'm excited.
Yeah,
And then
be a
hopefully
good show.
we'll try to get Mercedes Chandler back on and
Super awesome.
super awesome to go over
Yep.
the political landscape because that's gonna come up and be fun shortly
Yep.
too. So
Yep. And then for the games, we're hoping to get Tucker to come back on.
yeah,
Maybe
Tucker and Ellie Hiller,
Hiller
if
will
she's
come
got
on
time. Yeah.
if she's got time to kind of talk about the games a little bit. Not
So,
as much as everybody else, but
yeah, no, they got that.
they got that. But we'll
I
talk
might
about
try to debate John Young again. We'll see what happens.
that. I'm waiting for. So whenever that happens,
That'll be fun.
I don't know if I should sit on screen with you or if I should just, be like Pedro in the back, like put some points up, like while you guys are debating.
That'll be fun.
No, John, I don't think I'll probably give you too many points. Favoritism. There's definitely favoritism on this side.
For sure.
So maybe
It's allowed. It's allowed.
Maybe we should get that would be funny. That would be funny. Have a
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Thank you
right,
for
guys.
hanging out. And we'll see you on Tuesday.
all right. Bye.
Bye.